Hi, my name is Kyle. So I've been reading the comments on all these Titanic conspiracy forums for ever now. Now, there's a lot of holes in both stories that I just figured I would point out and also keep people from making further fools of themselves. Okay, it's really both stories make a lot of sense, but it's open-ended to whatever you want to believe. You can't say, oh, this happened, oh, no, this happened. There's too much evidence to support both stories, but not enough to disprove them. Alright, I'm going to go over the first piece of evidence. The M and P on the side of the ship. Alright? Now, just take that piece of evidence and throw it out the window. Right now, I can tell you that much. Alright. People won't believe what they cannot see. Now, alright. I talked to someone about it, and, they're like, oh, well, they found an M and a P in the Titanic name. I'm like, oh, really? Is there any photos of it? I'd really like to see it. So, like, yeah, there's a photo here on the internet. So, they sent me this photo. Now, it only took me about 4 billionths of a second to realize it wasn't even a photo. It was actually it was a picture, but it was actually a screenshot of the CGI in the documentary. Now, CGI, computer-generated imagery. That image is something that someone made on their computer. Therefore, that evidence right there, completely discredited. Alright? It just, don't even try using it anymore. Alright. Evidence to support the other side. Now, the closed promenade deck. Actually, I guess this would still support, oh no, this side supports the conspiracy theory, but, alright. The open promenade deck on the Olympic. Yes, it was open. Titanics was closed when it set sail. Now, this is all research that I did. There's billions of websites on the internet that you can find all this on and see for yourself. The Titanic did have an open promenade deck. Now, it was altered to be closed weeks before the maiden voyage because the passengers were complaining on the Olympic about getting sprayed with water. Now, I have actually found construction photos of the Titanic where, if you look, those windows that are unevenly spaced out in the launch photos for the maiden voyage, they are actually even. At one time, they were even during construction, supporting the fact that, yes, the Olympic and the Titanic did both have open promenades. However, they altered the Titanics weeks before due to complaints on the Olympic about getting sprayed with water. Look it up on the internet, guarantee you'll find it. Alright. The other thing is shutting 15,000 men up. Alright. Back 100 years ago, alright, working at a place, a shipyard like that was like a big business. And they didn't have unions and stuff back then. You did what your boss told you to do, you didn't question it. You didn't say anything back. You didn't say anything at all. Because back then, that was a big business. You worked there. If you had kids that were old enough, they probably worked there. Your siblings probably worked there. But if you piss off your boss, they will fire all of you in a second. And they can do that back then. So, shutting 15,000 people up, not that hard. Not to mention, if that had leaked out, that if they did switch, the shipyard would have been closed. White Star Line would have been thrown out of business, 15,000 people would have been without jobs. So it's really not that hard, alright? Alright. The stamped numbers on the propeller. It's documented that parts from the Titanic were used in repairs from the Olympic. Now, when the Olympic threw a propeller blade, they took one from the Titanic that wasn't altered to fit the Titanic yet. However, it already had the 401 stamped into it. So, that's why they would find a 401 if it was the Olympic on the propeller blade. Now, as for the support that Robert Ballard supposedly found, there's no documented evidence of that other than the documentary. I have not found it anywhere. So again, it's evidence that supported in the documentary, but anywhere else, it's nowhere to be found. I mean, a lot of this stuff in the documentary I've yet to find anywhere else, but now, I find all sorts of conspiracies. This one has been in existence since the ship sank 100 years ago. Now, the problem is, Titanic is underwater. Could be the Olympic, you never know. The Olympic, which could have been the Titanic, again, never know, was scrapped in the 1930s. Taken apart, spread all over the place. The only people that could tell you if the switch had taken place are long since gone. Passengers, the last passenger died back in like 2009, and she was only a few months old when she was even on the Titanic. So that would have been of no help whatsoever. But yeah, a lot of the evidence I'm seeing only points toward it's open-ended to whatever anyone else wants to believe. I am seeing a lot of hostility with these comments. I've had it pointed toward me sometimes for saying it's open-ended. Oh, well, they found an M and a P, as I said. The only photo evidence of it is a screenshot of the CGI in the documentary. So that makes for false evidence, not solid. Unless someone wants to go down there and actually photograph it and bring it back up and actually show people, it doesn't exist in most people's eyes. People don't believe what they cannot see. However, there are photos, actual photos, where it says Titanic on the bow. So, I mean, you're a little outweighed there. Again, the promenade deck on the Titanic was open, other than a couple of portholes and, 3 feet of distance in length? Titanic and Olympic at one time were virtually identical. They were built off the same plans. So, really, it's open-ended. The only evidence that still exists today is 2 halves of a rusty pile of ship underwater that is deteriorated to no end. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, whichever story happened, it happened. The only thing people should be focusing on is the 1,500 people that died that night, with which their case actually happened. Alright, well, now that I've said that, I'm going to close this off here. So really, just think about it before you get all hostile with people. It's never going to be a closed case as to what happened. There's no truth, there's no lie at this point. It's whatever anyone wants to believe. Have a good day.